All right. We have going for us this morning.
I'll go ahead.
I'm not sure I have enough brain cells left to rub them together to make builds this morning. I would like to do that. We'll at least have to consider it. That Earth Kineticist needs to go. Alright. We want to do this. G? Probably. Alright. Working with cool. Do we want? Morning, Veteran Vandal. Can't even see that. Mashing potatoes. Heard them called potatoes. Congratulations, good luck. You don't lose any limbs. Otherwise suffer bodily harm from the mashing of said potatoes. Okay. And yeah, let's. Sorry, man. My brain seems to have been functioning at a lower level than normal recently. So, yes, what do I think of some of the builds is a question. I'm a little concerned about fitting these into existing parties is my only issues with this. Gnome Jodis has a question. All right, Gnome Jodis, what's your question? Or are you just identifying that you had one? If your wife doesn't know. The obvious answer, yes. Slightly less obvious answer being no if you have it set up that way, but probably yes. In-game, absolutely cheating. If your wife doesn't know about you in-game, that's you cheating with a virtual time sink, pouring your life away. Something as useless as that. Let me ask you a question. Does your wife know you're talking to me right now? Maybe that's cheating. Have you thought to take that moment and make sure it's okay? I mean, I don't want to be one that gets you in trouble, Gnome. What is the plan, Naya Fairy? Yeah, that is the question. We got to get rid of this stupid kineticist because the kineticist is in dog shit. So this guy's got to go. And I'm considering also fixing the EK. Doesn't know you yet? Well, it's certainly cheating then. There's no way you can prove to me that you've gotten consent from her up front. Therefore, better fucking stop, man. I think that goes for all future associations in your life, too. You haven't received permission, therefore you can't do them. Right? Hey, Bale. We've narrowed it down, figured it out. Problem solved. Detective Filthy's work is done. Alright. You can make a Dragon Magus Dwarf that's not suboptimal. Exciting. Rogue healer. Alright, I have to click on that just to see what the fuck it is. There's a rogue healer in this game. I know One Heart was telling me that there was, but I certainly hadn't followed up how that works. Alright. We click. How does it work? Not a rogue, it's a paladin. Alright. Yeah, how is the best way to present this? So, I mean, I could put a goal, I could throw up a goal on the screen. The goal is to respec probably 2 to 3 characters here. And our kind of task this morning is to figure out which ones we wish to respec into and check out. I don't know about this one. Oh, it believes it's a rogue. I see. I mean, to be fair, it's got a couple points in Knife Master. You got here, time for the best game where you need spreadsheets. I don't think I play games anymore that don't require spreadsheets. I don't think I've ever played games that don't require spreadsheets. Self-identifies as a rogue. Gonna be a conversation. Yes. Hmm. You scaled it back from hard to challenging. Sure. Do what you want to do to enjoy it. I don't think the game does a very good job with its inherent scaling, so I can totally understand wanting to do that. Oh, I didn't take it as an insult. I'm just pushing right back at you in the same tone you meant it to me. Just playful. People don't seem to get playful some of the time. Guilty's angry. Okay. All right. All right. Let's read the notes. Objectively speaking, I expect this build to underperform Chat's Cleric. Noted. It makes up for this by being a fun multi-role character, being able to smite evil, turn on divine weapons, and jump in with double feathers to do decent supporting damage with or rogue dip, or spam heal and cleanse debuffs from allies with channels and lay on hands. Also a decent wand scroll user, likes to sit close to the front line with relatively low risk because of the charisma to both saves and AC. Apart from +4 charisma at level 4, your other levels may be allocated to Dax. My primary concern with this is how stupidly important the cleric spells have been. Now I say that, I guess we need to double check the cleric spells. What cleric spells have been stupidly important? I think they have been. This is my take on the teamwork feats. I think you need something enabling the teamwork feats. That seems to be Inquisitor, and I don't want to play Monster Tactician, so I run pretty quick circle on that at the moment. There are some other ones that did it okay too. Just Inquisitor in general seems to be the one you want to be playing if you want to run teamwork feat stuff. This seems strong. Running outflank on pretty much everyone. So, alright, so let's take a look at Chat's Cleric. So Chat's Cleric is really doing some heavy lifting here. Bless has been a powerhouse all game long. Remove Fear now is, it's the difference between trivializing a fight and losing the fight on the first turn, as we demonstrated last stream. The buffs have been important. Probably. Presumably. And delay poison communal is literally the best thing ever. Every enemy has poison. Right, this is a fire this buff off once and forget kind of deal. Energy communal's been kind of whatever. Same with protection from energy communal. They've been good and timely. And this is the reason why we didn't respec Chat's Cleric last time, unfortunately, is because we didn't really have an option for it. I wonder what the spell progression on that thing's going to be terrible, though, right? It's a rogue with a paladin subclass, or paladin splash, or rather the other way around, a paladin with a rogue splash. So we're gonna have basically no spell progression whatsoever. Lay on Hands is your debuff cleanser. Isn't Lay on Hands a touch ability? Single target touch ability? It's not like I can use Lay on Hands to cast Remove Fear on the team or something, correct? Don't think we can do something like this. Cute idea, because it is a way to try to address getting around the goddamn cleric. Problem is the cleric really doesn't want to be attacking either, because that ability is so strong, the one that gives +2 to attack rolls. Like, my cleric has plenty of actions to be taking every round that are not attack. So I don't miss that ever. I suspect no on this, but we'll remember it's here, and it's very different. I've never seen anything like it. It's kind of cool. Everything is just like sneak attack and monk armor seems to be. If I had to summarize Pathfinder like character builds in like 2 words or two concepts, it would be that. It would be essentially take any concept, layer on precision damage, and layer on monk AC, like mental stats to AC conversion, and you're just like done. I have a Pathfinder character. Hey, Clandestine Wolf. A little bit. Not enough. Not enough. A normal paladin for damage support on top of a cleric.
You have returned.
Isaac, thanks for 23 months, man.
Filthy 7.
Filthy 7 to you as well, sir. The problem with making a paladin is the paladin has to come at the cost of one of my other characters, right? Like, it's just opportunity cost. Otherwise, I'd just make this. Why not? Make this. Make a rogue. Make other things. All right. So it's kind of cute, but it doesn't really seem like it's doing much for me. Yeah, we looked at Hospitaller. We almost built one heart last respec. We came very close. There's a lot of cool things. I didn't love the idea of Smite, honestly. Like Smite Evil. I'm a bit worried about the flexibility. There's plenty of non-evil enemies that you're fighting. But my major concern is this. The cleric, although powerful, is not very fun. And that's okay if we have one of those, if we're really getting the shit work done. If there's shit work that has to be done as part of this party comp, and I'm really beginning to suspect that buffing, for example, anti-fear, anti-poison, almost mandatory. If I have to get that shit work done somewhere, maybe we just get that shit work done on the fucking cleric, and then move on with the rest of our character creation and build 5 fun synergetic characters and then goddamn cleric, because the cleric has no replacement. Hobby delivery. Knew there was a reason I married you. Thank you. Yeah, it was you or Starbucks. Yeah, that's the other one that disappointing that I was seriously considering. Chat, I'm sure many of you are here know a fuck ton more about character creation than I do, but the character he just suggested is all right, we need to note some things real quick. What's our cash at right now? We are at 106780. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at, Niablis. That might be an interesting replacement for Chat's cleric. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, if we were to look at that guy. Does it give us bard buffs? I don't really know. I don't know what the thing does. What they're talking about is this guy here. Alright, so what does this mean? We have to be level 3 before this happens, so this comes online at level 4. Maybe. I don't know if you can get arcane and divine spells to level 2 by level 3 or not. Okay, but we're skill blocked till 3. Till 4 rather. We have to get these 2, 3. So at 4 is the first time you can do the actual class promotion here. And then we get divine and arcane spellcasting and progression. Basically nothing else, right? Like, that's what this character does. It casts all the spells. My first thought is oh, I have to 3 levels cleric, 3 levels wizard, so the arcane casting is not easily taken care of. Point is, it's the most adaptable class because it has a million spells. Maybe. I'm not actually sure. What's the spell casting end up looking like? How does it do prepped versus unprepped spells? Is it combination wizard cleric, so it's kind of like everything has to be decided on? The trap. Hey, Dr. Nobody. I don't know if it's trap or not. It's an interesting class. I'm not super coming online so late is a bit of a deal breaker for me. Because again, we don't have to respec the cleric. The cleric is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's doing it an excellent job. I mean, we could play around with some very small respec stuff on the cleric. Morning, Juice. For example, the cleric here, we could redecide about our domains on this character. Like initially going into this, I just kind of picked whatever 2 domains class chat said to take, and community domain. Humming Touch is kind of garbage, but Guarded Hearth is incredible and very fun. We have the animal domain with a bonded holy, or with an animal domain, animal companion, and then like a couple animal buffs to it. And the cat's pretty damn good. We could either say, hey, the cat's too good, let's get rid of it, or we could say, hey, we really love this cat, we want to play around with that. Stroke spells would be spontaneous. Is that the word I'm looking for? Spontaneous. Nice. I see. So wizard cleric was just an example. I could have gone druid, another arcane caster, other druid. I guess bard is bard arcane. I don't know. Okay. I do hate this cleric build though. Not in the sense that it's really powerful. It's just really boring. Imagine taking extra channel 3 times as a feat, 2 times as a feat, and then boon companion, passive buff to our cat. Passive buff to our number of channels. Make it so our channel doesn't heal enemies. We've literally done nothing with our feats. Every one of our feats, there's not been a decision. It's just doing the same shit. You guys all gotta go to work. Sucks because all the guys who have built the builds are not going to be here as I walk through figuring them out. That's okay. Okay, we'll make do. Considered a grenadier. Yeah, we had a grenadier briefly. But anyways, I don't think I'm willing to get rid of the cleric. I think the spell progression seems insanely strong. I would be willing to tweak the domains if we had reasons to do that. I don't know what... I kind of like this sanctuary ability. I like how it plays, right? It's extremely powerful buff that's up rarely. Do summons get better later? I don't know if summons get better later. What summons do is they give you a stupid tank. It's very difficult to absorb damage in this game at the moment. Especially as you get for the higher difficulties where the enemies one-shot you or very close and have very, very high accuracy. Having a consumable that is just either a spell slot or on the Inquisitor, not even a spell slot, just like a usage ability that you have many, many charges of that puts out things that have multiple rounds to die, often insanely powerful. But I think it also breaks the game, quite honestly. Like I didn't enjoy the summoners at all because they were really not fun to do that. High Wizard Azada type summons buff you. I don't know why that's coming up, but sure, okay. Sleep cannot be made up, apparently. I don't know how that means, by the way, chat. Any of you guys know the answer to this? Probably not enough of you for this answer, because I bet you most of you don't, but I am curious. So, I really like, there's a podcast, I think his name is Matthew Walker. Been on the Rogan podcast talking about sleep, and he did an incredible presentation on that. Just really, really interesting shit. But one of the concepts that came up is you can't make up sleep debt. I don't understand how that functionally works. Does he mean you can't make up sleep debt on a one-to-one kind of basis? Like, if I miss 8 hours of sleep and then I sleep 8 extra hours the next day, I'm not back to where I would be normally. Is that what he's saying? In other cases, like maybe I have to spend like a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 ratio on making up sleep debt? Or is it something, or is he trying to say something different? Like, how do you offset that? I don't actually believe that we're permanently accruing like mental damage by missing sleep, right? So what is the actual mechanism for gaining equilibrium post sleep debt? So is it just not efficient enough, Joas? Like it's just not 1-to-1? Do we know what the ratio is? Because it's kind of misleading to say that there is no sleep debt. You can't repay sleep debt. Well, if I have to repay it at twice the cost, I'm still repaying it. The limit on restful sleep, so sleeping extra as a diminishing return. Why? I don't want to derail with that. I just want to ask that question from time to chat. We have to drink. He's not having any REM. Sure. Yeah, I mean, isn't that something that would be helpful in your life to know, expansion pack? So you're like, shit, well, I want to stay up tonight and go out with friends even this late. You know, it's that second location that well, I guess it's fucking COVID time. No one does this shit anymore. But, you know, in some universe, you're like, well, fuck, I want to go to this other thing. What will it cost me the next day? It would be nice to be able to kind of understand what the ratio is. Apparently there is no sleep bank. That was one of his points. I guess I need to either rewatch that part again or do some supplemental research. Thanks, Startup. All right. Anyways, chat. So I'm willing to, I guess I could put these up as goals. ED goals. Properties. Jesus, we had a lot of goals last time I had the sheet up. I don't remember. All right. Goals. Double check cleric domains. Fix EK wizard. Redo off tank. Admire builds. Yeah. Did that go? Turned it on. Good. Oh. Where's the spreadsheet open up to? Right, let's go here. That down. Move this up. And shrink. No, not in general. That. Does that work when I go to like over here? Or do we lose too much of it? Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, it's just right at the top. Okay. Do that for now. All I know is that the book Why We Sleep has a lot of misrepresentations. The guy who wrote it. Which guy wrote it, Niablis? Is that the guy we're talking about? I haven't heard anything negative about Walker coming back to me. The idea that it's not a plus minus bank that carries forward indefinitely, or since you're having less X days. I don't know. Kind of my question. Hey, Carnage Mantis. Yep. Where's the suboptimal type dwarf? We're getting there. Called a gnome. That's a good one line right there. I'm not a dwarf. I'm not a gnome. I'm a suboptimal dwarf. The only alternative to animal companion tanking, really heavy CC. Well, we know that's not right. We're not using animal companion tanking right now. Yeah. All right. Hold on a minute. What is this, Joas? This is like some code. Is a dwarf suboptimal? Yes, yes, no, suboptimal. I thought this was a yes, no, suboptimal question, not a yes, no dwarf. Is there a taunt mechanic? No, but enemies are pretty bad about. I don't know what they attack based on. I think there's some variation of like HP and like armor class and or armor type. I don't even know. I don't know what causes them to attack, but they rarely leave the target they're attacking to target something else. Hey, Diki, I didn't watch that live, although I'm kind of paying a little bit of attention to it as a like a media thing. What level is the AC? Whichever AC you need to be. Okay, so a yes here means a dwarf is fine in this location. A no means you can't really build a dwarf like this, and suboptimal means you could, but it'd be worse. Digos. I need to catch up on that, Hideki. I didn't know there was a fucking helicopter drone being deployed there, but that sounds amazing. Level 8 AC? Alright, we can fix this.
You have returned.
Trillic for the 19 months. Okay. So out of it still. All right. So we looked at one build so far. We looked at the rogue healer. Do we need to evaluate this somewhere? Do we need an eval? How spaced out is this? Make it a little wider. Let's make it a little wider. Add another. Then we go. Val. Cute. But no chats cleric. I don't have a lot of characters to deal with this, huh? Okay. Take a look at Brick Shithouse as a build. Who's that? I want to know the builder. Like, I don't get the builders. You guys didn't like tell me which build is whose. I know this bottom one that I was just looking at was One Heart, One Mind here. Do we need to like track that too? Maybe. All right. Would be One Heart, One Mind. There's no way to abbreviate this name, unfortunately. I mean, there are. There's like I can do OHO Or like to say it. Like I need less syllables. It's a shit ton of syllables to say. And I have a syllable limit I have each day, so it just chews away at that restriction so quickly. The top left of each build. Oh, like on the page. I am feeling very tired, Elware. Don't suppose you have any plans to do regular D&D anytime soon? I got a couple things on my plate / in the line for things like that. At the moment, I don't seem to have a lot of mental energy, which kind of sucks. But Kevin's reached out, wants to do some gaming. I'm trying to figure out how I could fit that into a stream. There was some pen and paper role-playing kind of games that we were considering, although not necessarily of the D&D ilk. Yeah, so thinking about it. Yeah, Big Thad, exactly. Thaddeus is the original Thaddeus, Kevin himself. He wants me to try some survival games with him. I haven't really played survival games on this channel. I haven't really played them much at all. I certainly haven't played them on this channel. What was the one he wanted me to play through? Fuck. Bunch. I don't think it's Valheim, although that's a new one that might be interesting because it has some like kind of hype stuff going around with it right now. I think it was Ark Survival Itadiki. Is that the one with the spaceship shit? Like you go to a planet like and you have like this giant wheeled like rover thing, and then she was showing me some like playthrough of it, and like there were like these hostile like drone things attacking them, and you had to like go harvest like uranium or something. Oh, okay. Which one am I thinking of? Probably just check the titles. 7 Days to Die or something. That sounds close. I'll dig them up now, chat, because it's like at this point I ought to at least reply slightly what that might be. Space Engineers, 7 Days to Die, and Fiasco were the ones that he was primarily championing. Whatever that fucking word is. Yeah. Yeah, No Man's Sky and Valheim are also ones like that, right? Is it Valheim? Valheim? Okay, so let's take a look at this second build. Is I guess it's going to tell me when I click on it if it is whose build it is. You don't know the last one? The last one is that would be the D&D kind of. Fiasco is it's a game about, you'd have to Google it. There's a Will Wheaton tabletop gaming thing. It's not a computer game. It's although I think there's some assets for that online. It's a pen and paper RPG kind of deal, but you're doing like, you're creating scenarios and then role playing them with friends, and the goal is to cause a fuck ton of chaos and stuff that I love having in my games. Long dark survival game. Yeah, Tragic Booty. Let's not. I don't want to role play living in a winter hellhole at the moment, particularly. Yeah, so that sounded like something I was interested in. Gotta figure out who I'd play that with or how it would. Anyways, it's pretty preliminary stuff, although he sent it a couple weeks ago. Time is such a weird construct right now. All right, let's look at this. This is author Niablis right there. All right. So this is Niablis's build. Let's take a look what it is. All right. It's DR from defensive stance and class, ending up with 7 specifically stacks with armor DR. Okay, so getting like, I don't know what level it gets 7, but the problem with DR is it's good at a level and it's not good later, right? Like 7 DR at the beginning of the game is absolutely ungodly good. 7 DR in the mid game is kind of like, it's not atrocious, but it's not very exciting. And 7 DR when a monster hits you for 100, 200 damage is nothing, right? Uncanny Dodge, improved Uncanny Dodge, which is very nice. Probably substitute teamwork feats for the Vital Strike bullshit. Okay. What is it? It is a power specialist fighter. You guys still see what I'm looking at? I didn't move it too far to the left, or did I? Yes, you're looking at what I'm looking at. So, all right. The thing about fighter is it seems, when I look at a build like this, I'm like, man, that looks really boring. And then I think about the fact that I don't know if I know what the fighter feats do. So we should probably go read fighter feats real quick. Let's go read, not feats, fighter abilities. Let's figure out what the fighter class does, chat. Okay. Pretend that we were respecing to a fighter. That's a fighter. You can tell because he's got a sharp knife. That defines fighters, I'm pretty certain. So I think it was just, was it a shield specialist fighter? It was. Okay, the problem with shield specialist fighter isn't it give up all the fun bits. The regular fighter gets 2 weapon specs, which kind of suck. It's armor training. Armor training, I think, is one of the interesting things about a fighter. Reduces armor check penalty. That's a nice quality of life, but not very relevant for anything else. I guess if we were casting, maybe it'd be relevant. Does armor check what fucks with their spells, or only skilled? Are the skill check and the magic check 2 different stats? But every 4 levels after this, these bonuses change. He gets 1 less armor check and adds 1 to the max dex allowed. Armor check is the skill rolls. So, I mean, looking at the, okay, so what do we gain? So basically, this allows at level 19 for 5 points of dex. No, that's DR. So 4 points of dex can count towards heavy armors, or +4 more than it would otherwise. And we've already gotten a heavy armor with, we have a heavy armor right now, the Mithril. that has +3 allowed already. So does that get me +7 max that I can get on heavy armor? So I could potentially have a heavy armor character with dex +7 still taking advantage? Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Yep. All right. So we could have a dex fighter in heavy armor if we did this. Shiro. I'm to stream math. Shiro, should I share this now? I don't know. I guess I should. I have a date and a time for when Dusty and I are going to chat and stream. So it's going to be next week. That'll be fun. I hope. All right. What are these other ones? Yeah, I don't give a shit about these ones, unfortunately. All right, so I don't want 2 weapon specs, although 1 weapon spec is nice. I don't care about bravery as a line. Not will saves though, unfortunately, right? It's will saves against fear, and then later fear and just fear. It's just fear, right? It's not a will save everywhere. It's just a will save against just fear. Boost to saves and weapon training slots. Oh, okay. So like this isn't entirely wasted. This is just a set of feats. I thought this was gonna be like, I don't know what I thought it was gonna be. I didn't think it was gonna be what we did. But anyways. And then this shit is just a fuck ton of feat progression. All right, so what happens to the two-handed or the tower shield specialist? What do we lose? Oh, we keep armor training. I didn't realize that. Oh, that's a little bit interesting. Is it only the two-handed fighter who gives up armor training? No, also the defender. I remember the other ones being shit though. Alright, is this going to counteract the dex we gain? Third level tower shield specialist gains armor training as normal, but when he employs a tower shield, the armor penalty is reduced by 3. The maximum dex allowed by a tower shield increases by 2. I don't know how tower shields work. Do they also tank your dex? Benefit increases every 4 levels thereafter. They do. All right, I mean, I like all the things the tower shield does. This becomes clearly the central point of this character is the tower shield with a fuck ton of buffs to using tower shields and doing things. I think the issue is going to be that it's still going to be like one of these really boring tanks, right? You can't hit anything, does nothing besides is essentially a walking AC bag, and that's it. I have topics planned for my chat. Yes, Elhire, I do. Although I'll flesh them out a bit more before next week. All right. So my first thought is I'm not super interested in this character, although seeing what let's go see what Niablos did with it, see if there's any interesting. Game is mostly reading, but I think if you want to have fun with the min-max element, this is certainly one of the routes you can take, and the route we are taking. So, all right. So these are a bunch of resistances, which seem great. An accuracy boost really late. All right. I know I can take whatever. I'm not. I'm kind of laughing at it, kind of not. Right.
You have returned.
Hero, has there just
Teresa Star Citizen free flight till the 25th of February Kappa.
Has there just been like Star Citizen free flight for like the last 6 months, Shiro? I feel like we've been talking about this conversation for so long. Thanks for reset, man. I do mean one day to check out Star Citizen. Maybe. Probably. I have good intentions towards it. Just one every 2 quarters. Oh man. Yeah. Alright. It could be dwarf. Alright, so this is literally just AC bag. AC bag with that's fair. That's fair. It's a one. That's the other thing, right? Is the really what we're getting. Okay, so where's my evaluation? So if we go back to the overview, cute but no Chaz cleric. This is kind of important, right? The what shit does it do? The answer is it does one-handed martial weapons is nice. Heavy armor tank. But that's it. Right? No shits. I mean, it's a fighter. What other fighter stuff do we get? Weren't there other fighter things? Did I already close that? I don't think I closed it. Did I close it? I have. What other fighter things do we get? I felt like I have the 5e fighter stuck in my head all of a sudden. So I'm suddenly curious about. It's just all feats, right? Is second wind a thing in this game? What about more importantly, action surge? Felt like there was a fighter we were using with action surge, but that might have been in Celesta. I can't remember if there's action surge in this game. Not in this game? Okay. Alright. No harm down there. So think about that. Yeah. Take a look at one hand in pants build. Interesting. Chat, I will, well. Alright. Submitted by unknown. Aldori Swordlord is a hybrid between tank and single target intimidation. Main skills are shatter confidence and adaptive tactic. Thug is brought in to strengthen intimidation. Sword Saint, so you don't have to pick up exotic proficiency for sword. The ability to cast mirror image plus armor from int. Scaled Fist is for crane style and armor from charisma. 8 strength, 18 dex, 10 con, 18 unknown. The order of the mental stats. And has got to be wisdom. This has got to be int charisma, huh? Scaled Fist for crane style and armor from charisma. Viva Dip because Viva and Duelist. SD for additional AC. I know what SD stands for here. And Duelist and SD. What does that even mean? 16 is a what? Plus 3? Oh, a defender. I don't know what that ability does. Ugh. Do we get double conversion from this? We get int and charisma to AC. Busted. Where are we getting the int from? Sword Saint. Stalwart Defender is a huge class. Okay. Alright, so let me look at this. So you start Sword Saint. We have to do a little bit of reverse engineering here. Cautious Fighter. Let's see what that is. So let's go take a look at this. I do like tanks with those shit buttons. Let's kill the Chrome real quick. Pulling this out. Alright, we're starting with Magus, right? Get that. Sword Saint, Cautious Fighter. Well, the tanks need to do something, Shiro, right? They got to have some sort of fun buttons for doing things. It's the problem that I've encountered with our tanks thus far. They've been extremely boring. There's the Sword Saint. Okay. Means canny defense. Wearing light or no armor, wielding his chosen weapon, and not using a shield, a sword saint adds 1 point of intelligence bonus from mage's class level as dodge to her armor. Okay. Apparently in this game you have to stack avoidance and AC and things. Okay, so we're going in here. This is the int bonus. I don't know if there's something else. I don't think there's a feat in here, right? The regular feat. Who's in weapon? Do something for AC. Yeah, weapon focus. Okay. Where did the challenge come from? With 6 filthy builds, this game gets reduced to boring slaughter. The game is already boring slaughter mostly. Challenge comes in upping the difficulty as we're doing this, but we're not doing this to min-max the ability to progress through the game. Naya Fairy kept offering that in the, I think it was Naya Fairy kept offering that in the Discord channel, right? Kept saying, you know, well, you could face roll with this, or you can beat the game with anything. The point isn't to beat the game with something. The point isn't to be as strong as we possibly can. The point is to have characters that I enjoy. And we keep changing that because I'm learning a shit ton about the characters as we play them. And it's a new system for me prior to this game. So we go back to this. I have roles I want filled because I want those roles filled. But we're doing these because I like these builds so much better so far. You can't talk about feet without it being safe for work, Cheryl. I think you can talk about feet. All right, let's take a look. The Cautious Fighter. The Sword Saint comes in for the int conversion. Guild Fist comes in for the charisma conversion. Thug comes in for boosting. I do like this, by the way, because this is something else the tank is doing as an off tank, right? Somebody they can do usefully, which is they can get the intimidates in. Now we supposedly have a Slayer that's going to be doing intimidating, but so far the Slayer A hasn't done any intimidating yet, and B is missing some of the tools, right? They only Dreadful Carnage. They don't have whatever the fucking other one is. Now, Dazzling Display, I feel like is a scam, right? What we want is the one that Dazzling Display rides on. And I don't remember what that is. I feel like it was another feat that I'm not seeing listed here. Origin Smash, which isn't here. Means what? I'm actually going to be spending actions to cast fucking Dazzling Display? See Shatter Defense is listed on here, but I don't see Origin Smash. Oh, it's Aldori Swordlord that's giving us that? Okay. Now, I guess I gotta go back and, yeah, see, this is the issue with not knowing all these classes by heart. Let's take a look. So, the Swordlord, I believe, was the actual most exciting, like, prestige class when I read through what they did. They did some really incredible stuff. Really incredible stuff. Is this your build, Joss? Okay. See, like, I really want to use the Swordlord too, right? Because I think things like adaptive tactics were really cool. This thing, it might be this thing. 5th level, an Aldori Swordlord attempts to persuasion skill as a free action. Yeah, it's this thing, right? Okay, so we're getting some variation of doing these things as with action economy, which is kind of how you have to do them, I think. Wasn't you? Oh shit, Naya. Let me see who it was then. I thought it was you. My bad then. Who the fuck was it? Oh, Nyx Panicus. Sorry, man. Isn't Corrigan Smash better? Corrigan Smash requires power weapon or something, right? The answer is no, I think. I think it requires things that I think there's basically, I think there's one that the two big ones are Dreadful Carnage and the Smash. And I think Smash requires Power Weapon. And Power Weapon, I think, is a strength-based attacking ability. So I think you're going to find it's going to be different things depending on how you do your damage. So no, I don't think it's better or worse. I think the way they trigger is different prereqs. So. Yeah, see, I'm really interested in playing the Swordlord, so I need to look a little bit. Swordlord wasn't a caster class, right? Either there's no caster progression there, right? It seems like the Swordlord comes online so late. But what is the earliest the Swordlord comes online, anyways? Pretty late, right? Like it wasn't a quick splash. So Persuasion 5 already means you can't touch this class till 6. Depends how much extra shit these add. I think it's 7 is the earliest. See, that would make sense. So if we have 7 levels of prerequisite, that doesn't mean anything because the prerequisites are not delaying us. They're just the mandatory prerequisites for that prestige class. So what are we getting out? So Sword Stand again is these are the two conversions for tanking. Thug becomes I like the specialization and intimidation. I gotta go look what Thug 1 through 4 does as opposed to just Thug 1. Go look at what Thug does. Today is gonna be a day like this, chat. Like I don't know how long it will take, but if you like character building, today is a good day to be part of a stream because we're gonna be doing this to start the morning with. If you find this boring, I'm sorry. I'm happy to answer other questions along the way. If you wish to be part of this, if you want to come back later, that's okay too. But we are going to be doing this. I don't want to feel guilty for nerding out on this shit, right? The joy is fucking nerding out in a game like this. So let's fucking nerd out and have fun on this. Let's go. All right, let's go have a look at this Thug. What do we get for 4 points of Thug Splash? This is kind of nice too, right? Like having people suggest the builds so I can figure out their rationale and then go actually have enough knowledge now to have at least a look at what they're thinking or try to understand the thought process behind it. It's fun. Alright, so we get sneak attack progression, although level 4 Thug, kind of whatever for sneak attack progression. We get 2 levels of sneak attack, sure. I don't know if the Swordlord, what's his face continue? Does the Swordlord get sneak attack progression? I didn't see it. Okay, I mean that's just some precision damage, that's fine. Evasion? Okay. Brutal beating. When a Thug deals sneak attack damage, she can forgo 1d6 points of sneak attack damage. Make a target second. Cool. So trading off a little tiny bit of damage on a tank for 1d6 dice for a debuff is nice. Alright, see you, Joas. Have fun, man. Good luck on your presentation. Debilitating Injury comes online at 4. When a rogue deals sneak attack to a foe, she can debilitate the target of her attack, causing it to be a penalty for 1 round. Any other penalty? Who's one of the penalties to wear? Bewilder the target takes a 2 AC to 8. That's great. Oh, but just... No. Okay, 2 in general, 2 more to the rogue. 1 option. Or we can disorient them. -2 attack roll. Or we can slow them down. Cool. I like this. Nice utility out of that. Happy with that. What do these do? 2 rogue talents. I don't know which ones. I guess I can look up. Hold on, let me find out what rogue talents are. I think rogue talent. I mean, I know they're a subset of talents in general, feats in general. But I gotta figure out which ones. We'll do that in just a second. You know, we get weapon finesse from this. I don't know if that matters for this class. It might. Whenever a Thug successfully uses persuasion to demoralize a creature, the duration of a shaking conditions a creature, right? And we get the really nice Thug conversion for better frightening. It's pretty nice. Okay. Finesse training. I think this is supposed to be a single targeter. Almogava. We have a AoE one. We have Dreadful Carnage on the Slayer, and the Slayer's not going anywhere. I really like the Slayer. It's one of my favorite builds so far. So we probably aren't touching the Slayer. Finesse training. She gets like 1 type of weapon that can be used with the weapon, such as rapiers or daggers. And this choice is made. It can't be made whenever she makes a successful melee attack with a selected weapon. She adds her dex modifier instead of strength modifier to the damage roll. Okay. We get a free conversion here. I don't have to waste the item slot. That's good. And this also comes online at 4. Is this Uncanny Dodge? Yeah. So I've been really wanting Uncanny Dodge. I actually really want improved Uncanny Dodge. It seems incredible. Although, looks like I need levels in Rogue to make that better. So what is the full extent of Uncanny Dodge here? Can't be caught flat-footed. Excellent for a tank. Nor does she lose her dex bonus to AC if the target is invisible. Great. Loses her dex bonus to AC if she's immobilized. A character with this ability can lose her dex bonus to AC if an opponent successfully uses the feint action. I didn't know there was a feint action. I wonder if the AI ever feints you. Character already has uncanny dodge. Okay. Oh, she gets improved uncanny dodge if she has uncanny dodge from a different class. I wonder if that's relevant to this build. We'll find out. We get 2 rogue talents. Don't know what those are yet. We get brutal beating as a nice little rider that we can apply for reduction in damage. We get evasion, which is a reflex save to take half, which is great. I mean, these seem like really nice tools to have on a tank. That seems pretty fucking sexy right off the bat. And then what are the increases on the Swordlord? I loved the Swordlord abilities, by the way, chat, when I read through these. I think the Swordlord is the one who can stand the fuck up without getting wrecked. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's the Duelist. One of them has some ability to not get attack of opportunity when they stand up. Another bonus to the Intimidate. Looks so good. It looks so good. That one. At the 7th level, an Eldori Swordlord does not provoke attacks of opportunity when standing up from prone. Nobu, how are you? Dealing with this light sleep shit, Nobu. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't know how you're a functioning human being like that. Yeah, so really nice bonuses on the Swordlord. It's another prestige class we haven't used. This is a very exciting build to me so far. Alright, let's keep looking though. Like to spend the effort at least to work through the builds that were suggested. I mean, we don't get Eldori Swordlord 7. Wait, it never goes Eldori Swordlord 7. It only ever goes to Eldori Swordlord 5. Why? And what's another splash of Viva Sectionist at fucking 18? Or not 18, 12 rather. Man, I don't know how I feel about this shit. Like, here onwards, I'm a bit concerned. I gotta talk to Joas about that later. That's probably a bunch of trade-offs that I can't think of right now. Okay, but let's start with this. Not to do it, but just like to discuss how we feel about that one. That one seems pretty sweet. I guess we're getting single target in Tim, and Swordlord is pretty cool. Yeah. Deprivation is a hell of a drug. Makes me really stupid, which is not exactly my ideal outcome. All right. S and big board. Sword and big board. I wonder if that's going to be any different in the brick shithouse. I guess this is any martial weapon, and this is a dueling sword. So what is the oh shit button that the fighters get that we haven't looked at yet? What is that? This the big board fighters. I need to go to fighter. Sword tower shield specialist. Tower defender prestige class. Okay. They just got a straight up AC bonus for being this class, and they get what, defensive stance? Oh, I remember this. This is like the one where you like initially you have like a super limited number of rounds and you like can't move or something, and if you after you move you get tired. I read through these and wasn't super excited about that. Still, uncanny dodge is beautiful. Problem I found with this class when I read through it is like I couldn't figure out what else it did besides have a giant fucking shield. And having a giant shield is useful, but it feels like other classes can have the equivalent of a giant fucking shield but do more things. So I kind of looked at it that way and was like, I don't know. And I'm not necessarily seeing anything that triggered that difference. It does have a fuck ton of bonuses, so getting the one-handed weapon is certainly has some value if we go that route. All right. So what is this one saying? One hand. I guess the one downside of this is we can't build a dwarf out of that Swordlord. Bro. So look at. Wait, why does it say it only has 20 AC? That's got to be wrong. Oh, we only 20 AC at 8 with buffed. Yeah. TSS. Probably. All right, let's take a look at this guy. This guy is all right. Standard sword and board tank with tower shield, 10 levels of AE. Eldori Defender. We're great. Going to Sork. What is Eldori Defender? That is the other fighter subclass, I think. Better saves, initiative, and damage. I don't think it is the tower shield. That one's actually called a tower shield specialist. I think there's a third one called that. Well, let's take a look. Yeah, there is. We've got the tower shield specialist. Then we've got whatever the actually Eldori Defender is. But it gives up the heavy armor mobility thing. Oh, I looked at this one. I didn't love this one. Like the one that counterattacks all the fucking time. Okay. All right. Want to be on track for what we're looking at here. Okay. SD thing rounding. Duelist build here. Less exciting than the other one to me. I really like the Swordlord's abilities. I found them much more interesting than the Eldori Defender abilities when I read through these previously. And I don't love the Stalwart Defender build either. All right. We need to... And it's locked into a single weapon too, right? Which is kind of not where I wanted to be. Although I'm probably going to be stuck on a single weapon if I do that. May just splash off the other one. Yeah. All right. What is this one? Naked S-Stock Rapier. I don't know what a S-Stock is. Get some exotic weapon. What is SS tanking stand for here? The Joas one. The Azamar. On a strike, improved initiative and toughness. Oh, it's probably a Sword Saint. It's probably what SS stands for here. Yeah. Okay. Sword Saint, traditional dodge, magus list. All right, let's go look at the Duelist. The Duelist is another one of these promotion classes. We have a look what the Duelist offered. I remember the Duelist being a pretty cool idea, but less cool than the Swordlord to me. And I haven't used the Swordlord yet. Is this the one that I've been thinking about? This is the one with parry. So this is the one that is attempting to counterattack. This is what I thought the fucking Swordlord did, or the Eldori Defender did. What am I missing here then? Full attacks for AC. And specking. Arming strikes, interesting. Another AC bonus. That's kind of counter. Yeah, I was gonna say that's basically counterattacking too. So I'm not. All right, but anyways, we're looking at the Duelist stuff. Duelist level to damage roll. There's the int conversion. There's two ways to get this. One comes through Duelist and one comes through Sword Saint. Or Magus, rather. This is really strong. This is one of the ones I was very excited about. This thing seems to get double... I don't even know if it gets like reaction. Where is it? Improved reaction and then like enhanced reaction or something. That's like 2 levels of initiative. Fucking nuts. And they stack. Ew. They're supposed to stack? Presumably you can't get 2. Yeah, this one seems extremely important to this build. It's that counterattack shit. I'm not sure I care about the parry counterattack stuff. I mean, it's interesting. It is something different they do, which is kind of nice.
You have returned.
You Sunbeam EU for the resub. Welcome back. They don't stack in tabletop via errata. I'm a little less interested in using that now from that. It's still kind of cool though. This is like a parry counterattack build. We don't have anything like that. I haven't played this subclass, this prestige class yet. So there is some kind of cool stuff going on there. What's the rest of the build flesh out to be? Away from it. It wasn't this one. It was this one. And some of the issue too is all the cool mechanics basically dump all the cool gear. They're almost mutually exclusive. If you want cool mechanics, don't get cool gear, and vice versa. Sword Saint, Traditional Monk, Magus, Duelist. Duelist comes online really late too. Look at that. This is a Sword Saint, really, with a Duelist splash late. Okay. Fine. Like the mullet of tank builds here, right? That's what we're dealing with this. I don't know if I want to add that to the description or not. Yeah, I think we will. Yeah. All right. What is the meme druid? And who is responsible? This was a Joas. What was this one's?
Filthy love, filthy high, filthy cookie, filthy
Also a
hide.
Joas. Okay. So a Joas. Okay. Had a total of 38 months. Thank you. Here's filthy high to you as well. All right, let's take a look at this meme druid. Meme druid. One Heart, One Mind got tired of typing his own name. I understand. It's a long ass fucking name. All the stuff. It's dwarf. High plus. Use your choice of interesting finesse weapon with a cool buff. Or both. Yes. Passive effect from weapons absorb into your wild shape. Be fucking cool. Spin. I see. Well, the best tanking option in the mid-late game will be air elementals. Some of the other wild shapes offer neat offensive effects like the shambling mound. Starting at a point of the build, we are unlocking new wild shapes every other level, so it should keep it interesting. These are all really nice additions to the build. What are we doing over here? Death Domain Blight Druid. Right. Druid is something we haven't looked a lot at because I generally hate druids. Let's take a look at this. All right, what is that? That is, drop this, go back to this, take a look at the druid. All right, druid. Fucking nature, loving. Yeah, I love nature too, quite honestly. I don't know what it is about druids that annoy me so much. I really should identify that because there's a lot of things that I also agree with. I think it's the attitude of druids. Holier than thou shit, I think, of druids pisses me off. Alright, may not bond with an animal. Select from death or destruction. What do they do? No. On lore checks. I mean, the lore check bonus is like, this is not inconsequential. I actually really like passing our lore checks when we fight new enemies to figure out what the fuck they do. I find that very enjoyable. We get wolves later. I see the BG3 Druid reveal. I haven't. Nope. Blight Druid gains immunity to all diseases. Okay. Proficient with light and medium, but can't wear metal. Okay. Alignment restrictions. Spontaneous summoning. Can use stored spell energy into summoning spells she hasn't prepared. That's a little busted. I mean, that's very strong, it feels like, right? This is an oh shit button. This is like maybe the biggest oh shit button this class could possibly have. Which is you go, oh shit, this boss is wrecking me. I'll convert useless situational debuff / buff spell into a summon. Kind of busted. What does a Blight Druid do compared to regular Druids? It loses an animal companion to gain something. Figure out what something is. Druid may not bond. May select from the death and destruction in addition to those normally available. They wanted us to go death domain. Cause the living to bleed at a touch. Find comfort in the presence of the dead. Wow. As a melee touch attack.
Quitters never win.
As a melee touch attack. Cause a living creature to take 1d6 points of damage per round. Sounds really bad. Maybe it isn't. Maybe this is strength based. I gotta look at the stats in a second. I think your skill is the limit. Ah, we got a mad PKA bro. Hey, welcome to the channel, man. You want to know why we always interrupt? Yeah, that's such a fucking stupid take on this. Let me try to put it in perspective, right? Go watch the first hour of that podcast. Watch how hard I tried to get a word in edgewise, Comso, and watch how it failed repeatedly to get a word in edgewise at the beginning of that. Especially during the Expanse conversation, where I actually had quite a lot of interest in Expanse and really wanted to expand on that. The problem with Zoom calls in general, Discord is, I mean, they're using Discord, but the problem is still there as well, which is you miss some of the timing of a normal conversation. So you're dealing with online timing. Sure, we're always dealing with online timing. Not everyone interrupts. What's the problem? The problem is there's a lot of shit said on that podcast that just kind of like isn't right, or is only kind of like this surface level pass on stuff. I've been on that podcast a million fucking times at this point. And if I'm going to have any enjoyment of that, I need more than just this kind of like, oh, what happened in the news today? Let's read these titles, react to them briefly, and move on kind of deal. It just really doesn't do it for me. So there are a couple things. The first is I wanted to say something. The second was it didn't seem to be getting across, and they kept arguing the wrong point. And the third is it's just naturally difficult already in a group cast with multiple people to kind of get your words in. So it just ends up being like that. I don't know if there's anything to be done about it particularly, but there we are. All right, what do we have for a death domain here? What does this do? 8th level, you heal instead of taking damage from channel negative energy. I don't know. I don't know about death domain here. What was the Druid reveal, Investor Gadget? Thank you, Niablis. I don't, like, you don't really intend to, like, initially. Anyways, the point is not to do that necessarily, but the point was that I didn't want to leave that one unchallenged, right? It's just like a lot of times I can just close my eyes and kind of move on with whatever the topic is, but like sometimes it hits stuff and I'm like, no, that's just like a really bad take. And yeah, there's nuance in there, and sometimes I get dinged on PKA for being like, why do you keep bringing up these nuanced points? And I'm like, because it's face roll boring not to have any fucking nuance in the conversation you're a part of. It just isn't interesting to me. All right, so we get some domain stuff. I don't understand necessarily why we want Blight Bond instead of the rest of it. Maybe it's just not to be Animal Companion. What else do we get from this? We get Miasma, so we're doing something to them. Oh, we're making them nauseated or sick by being next to them. That's pretty nice. That's Blight Druid though, not specifically Death Domain. Then we get Wild Shape Leopard and Wild Shape Small Elemental. How does a wild shape mechanic work here? Do I get my HP pool plus the animal's HP pool? Do I change forms when... Is this like 5e wild shape? Am I forced to change forms when I run out of HP here? How does it work? Was there more to that question? I'm pretty sure that question's a troll, but I do want to kind of half respond to it seriously. Let me just... Great podcast, repeating guests. I'm trying to understand how you manage to constantly interrupt and talk over the host. That's kind of a... the pretension of being a question while actually giving someone shit. Why must you try to counter something they say in every single topic discussed? I'm not trying to counter anything. That the hosts often leave a lot of kind of important nuance to something off the table. I enjoy talking about nuance. Look at the ratings for your episodes versus the last few guests and analyze why that might be. Dude, you're gonna have to start paying me if you want me to like be trying to like ride the popularity wave. If you think I was invited on that podcast because my opinions were popular with the audience, then you're absolutely wrong, right? I'm invited on those fucking podcasts because it's a different flavor of guest from a lot of the guests that are brought on there and brings up some things that are different in content than normally gets brought up there. So I don't know, man. I'll tell you what, you start paying for my time at 20. I thought we were at 21. Someone told me I'm at 23 at 4 hours a pop. I'll let you know what my sponsorship rates are, bro. And when we get that sorted out, then I can play more to your game as opposed to me trying to get something out of it while I'm there too. All right. I think I'm done with engaging with that conversation for now, unless he's got more to add to it. Let's continue with the D&D builds. Okay. So this is actually fairly surprisingly interesting, the Druid. There's some cool mechanics in here, and I don't really understand how the shapeshifting works. We could learn through that too. Reasonable. Keep your stats, you run out of HP, you go unconscious. I don't know what you do with the feats. That's one of the biggest issues I have with the cleric, is there's no feat progression of any utility. Yeah, it leads Nieblas to kind of your point. If you don't, the problem is the outcomes from that, right? Like if you leave the idea that just so stories are gonna fucking explain everything, it's kind of, it leads for some really fucking cringy takes on what the evidence of history is supposedly saying, and it's just not a good way to look at that. There's just better ways to do that, right? You can be more clear in your assumptions with actually making assumptions based on shit you can test, which is, I feel important. I feel like it's an important way to look at things. All right. What else do we have for that? So this is possibly interesting. It's really an issue of, are druids fun? Hey, you have something you wanted to add when I'm talking about that? I do. What did you want to add? You're probably not loud enough for my mic to pick it up, and I can paraphrase that, but you. I don't understand the point, though, relevance of that. What about perceptual biases on the point of the viewer? Oh, this guy's comment? I'm pretty sure this guy's comment's trolling. I thought you meant like in reference to the Sure. What are the hot takes? It's just talking about confirmation bias. How that might apply to this both conversation and the viewers of that. All right. Druid spells are fine. Okay. They're a divinity caster in this game, right? So it's a lot of it's a pretty heavy overlap with the cleric, but more like nature-oriented barkskins and entangles and shit. I had a conversation with Destiny next Wednesday. Bye. Does Miasma hurt my own character, Nyx Panicus?
You have returned.
Oh, are you a Texan, Xander? I didn't realize.
Survived Snowmageddon and finally have power back. What have I missed over the last few days?
Not a lot, Xander. I didn't stream the last 3 days. Or last 3 of the last 4 days. Welcome back, man. Glad you're alright. Third list of spells overlap with cleric and sorcerer. Does hurt your own allies? Well, maybe we could use that other necklace. We have that necklace that lets us like add 2d6 damage, but we AOO our friends. So maybe there's some argument for using that. Was it just Texas? Gotcha. Cool, so. All right, so this was kind of neat. I like the spell class. We haven't used it. It's a class we haven't used. And Miasma was kind of cool. All right, let's take a look at the strength of the dual wield fighter. This guy here. Good. Also a druid, or also a dwarf rather, on the meme druid. It's interesting. So. How do I target it? Thought about adding a mod that adds more of the base classes. No, I don't think we need more character decision options right at this moment, Xander. All right, strength dual wield fighter. So we haven't used dual wield either, although I kind of hate the mechanic thus far. Let's take a look what they're offering. Strength dual wield fighter here. Peak of strength dual wielding, not really off flank. Not really off tank, but switch to tower shield as possible. Damage comparable with Inquisitor with Bane, able to utilize heavy armor and +7 dex. 30 speed from level 7 and heavy armor. Staggering critical, exhausted critical for preventing or being mauled down by an owlbear. Alright. What does it do? Oh, it's all fighter. It's a pure 20-point fighter build. We already have a 20-point fighter build that we're building. This is just dual wield fighter. Taking advantage of dex. The pure fighter. I don't think I'm that interested in that. I feel like we have a pure fighter and it's cool, but it's doing its thing already. I mean, I guess our fighter has a. I mean, we can potentially move that around too. We could move our fighter back to the mixed dex strength one, but I don't think so. I think that's just not what I'm trying to do right now, unfortunately. All right. Like that I'm going bottom up. You know, Neapolis. Make it my own. Then be Alchemist. In forward, sword and board, sword and board. All right, chat, I need to grab water and second cup of coffee. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, chat, I'm back. What do we have next? Be Alchemist. Okay. So this is what? Mr. Hyde is the naturalist version of this. Where you pick up like doesn't actually look that way. One Heart loves his alchemist, doesn't he? The +2 item for full infusion access. Above line, want and not need. Other level is a boring +1 sneak die, no decisions. Diagnostic. Orbs can't be encumbered. Run a set with light heavy power. Light's your most accurate for damage. Presumably tower is most AC, but no bashing. Is your middle ground. Save fixing option can be taken earlier by delaying combat feats or removing HP and extra sneak attack. Are we considering stopping the playthrough? Yeah, it's in the cards, MD Mally. I'm kind of both ways. I have a lot of fun with this game, but sometimes it's a bit slow, a bit of a grind. Sometimes I also find parts of it really poorly balanced. As I said, it's definitely a flawed gem. It's got its great points and it's got its low points. What are we doing here? Fighter, dodge, heavy armor. So I did ask specifically for heavy armor usage. Funny because every time I look at a heavy armor build, I'm like, that's so much less interesting than non-heavy armor builds. We need to figure out how many we're going to respec today as well, I guess. I think I'm only planning on 1 to 2. Shield focus, I don't even know what shield focus does. And 2 weapons fighting, shield bash, double slice. I don't think this is what I'm interested in though. I mean, we would get a lot of armor usage if we're running 3 sets. So I don't think there's any particular easy way to track armor on a character, right? Like carrying the armor. Focus +1 AC when you have a shield, sure. There's no int conversion right here with fighter vivisectionist either. Like no mental stat conversion. What is the AC gonna be like on this? Did it even get very high? I can't imagine it gets that fucking. I mean, I guess it's pure, not pure fighter, it's pure VV. It's not gonna get shit for AC, right? Yeah, I know this was the main page AC is for us, but I went to look. Seems so much higher than what I was expecting, but still not good, right? Yeah, there's natural armor in the mutagen. Sure. Does that scale up over time then, for the mutagen power? I didn't think mutagen scaled very often. I thought it was like 3 times total in the entire build. But we're looking at the Alchemist, Perfectionist. Yeah, right. Mutagen. All right. Who was this 1 heart? Was. Wait, I don't want to steal people's credit, but I don't want to keep checking back those Joas. Yeah. Yeah, sure, Penicus. Yep. Hope I continue my playthrough. I'm certainly planning on it at the moment. I just don't know. I don't want to commit to like 7 acts of this or something when we're barely through Act 2 right now. Like the time commitment starts to rack up pretty heavily. So we'll see. We're gonna not respecking every couple days will help, and we're nearly there. Like I like my party as a whole quite a lot. I'm just missing like 1 or 2 pieces that I don't like the dwarf kineticist, which is what we're fixing. And then we hopefully run into a bunch more cool fights. I feel like probably what I should have done, which I would never do, but like probably should have done, is I probably should have played this with the base characters that they wanted to give me, as opposed to mercs. I think it would have fixed the flow of the game a little bit for me. All right, what is the Monk Duelist? Sounds very uninteresting to me. It feels like it's just gonna be, I mean, how is that gonna be fucking different than it's gonna be this, but look. Next act is fun. The act after that's even more fun. Cool. Would you interested in a build you made for a companion that's meant for a heavy armor tank? You could throw it in the Discord channel, Xander, but we kind of did all this brainstorming the last couple days, so kind of wanted to narrow that down now so our stream would have a manageable quantity to it. Well, not only were they non-optimal nicks, they also looked quite boring to me. The base companions. So yeah, you're certainly willing to volunteer, man. I'll have a look at it at some point. I just don't know that would do it today in today's stream. All right, take a look at this. So this is Monk and Fighter, Aldori Defender. Fighter, 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 Duelist, 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 Duelist. Gets bored of his own build at 17 on this, Niablis. Okay. All right, what does it do? Stacking. Wait, what is this? Another option? Different variation of the same build, maybe? Can only take 10 levels of Duelist. Yeah, I understand. The thing is, although the Duelist seems strong to me, when I read through the Duelist prestige class, it seems so much less cool to me than the Swordlord's prestige class. Like, the Swordlord seems fucking awesome to me. Like, I want every single perk listed on the Swordlord's list, ever. So, like, when I look at that, I'm like, man, tough for me to want to commit to Duelist over Swordlord for fighting for the same spot. Hey, Swag. All right. All right. Oops. Why not make your own Swordlord? Don't get hit. I'm going through the builds that other people who spend a lot of time working on this for me just fucking looked at, and I'm probably going to be using one of these builds. I'm just trying to decide which one. We're trying to critique these builds. That's what we're doing right now. Duelist doesn't get hit. That is generally the point of an invasion tank. All right. Dragon Magus. Yeah. So the issue is the one I'm favoring heavily right now, which was this one here. I think, unfortunately, uses only a single sword type and no fucking weapons again. It was obviously far from perfect. Didn't come to give me shit on it. Instantly took insult and called me a PKA bro and talking about paying you. Not everything is an attack. You nailed it with Hope's boyfriend stuff. Yeah, it's very funny. Okay, well, perhaps I'm taking it the wrong way, Cosmo, because which is there's a lot of negative pushback from every time I open my mouth on PKA. Like, this, a lot of it. My impression was you were coming at me with that kind of direction. So I think I've tried to answer it right. The essential answer is it's not a perfect format for having conversations. I mean, the delay of being online combined with the less good reads on body stuff, what am I looking for? Body language, combined with then also the format of the show. Like, you have to kind of push to be heard. Sometimes you have to push hard to get anything complex out. So I think my wife brought up a point that maybe you should consider too, which is you should go back and maybe perhaps look at the number of interruptions. And I haven't done it, so like I'm sure I'm suffering from the exact same perceptual biases you are. We'll get interrupted quite a lot in PKA. Not sure I do it all that much more than many other people. I certainly don't want to sit there, come on a 4-hour podcast and sit there and watch the podcast that I'm on, right? Anyways, man, hopefully that clarifies it a little bit, I guess. All right, what is this? The one I'm looking at right now. I also read it as antagonistic, and perhaps it wasn't. And given the benefit of the doubt, if he says it wasn't, sure. It reads it. It reads as a kind of a one of these ones that you can hide behind with intention, but maybe not. All right. So what are we looking at? The Monk Duelist. We look at this or no? Yes, we did. Okay. Next one's the Dragon Mages. Yep, could be tone doesn't translate well in text is fine. You have to be extra careful of your text crafting then, right? Alright, so this is starting with mages. I don't know what a Scion is compared to the other one. I think the only mages we really looked at is sword. Alright, let's take a quick look at what that looks like as a build. What does the Scion do? Sorcerer, maybe? Yeah, just the description just sounds like a sorcerer. So it's just we're just looking to dump int what we're doing by taking the Eldritch one. Don't we lose a bunch for not being a Sword Saint? Doesn't Sword Saint give us something that we can't get elsewhere? Looking at canny defense in particular. I don't see a canny defense in there. Do we get the charisma equivalent? Or we just don't give a shit because if we're already getting it from scaled monk, then we get that conversion period. Chat, I don't mind him making long posts. Fine. It's tough to trying to get the tone of what he's talking about. The DD, the Sword Saint. What is DD? Oh, Disciple. What's the restriction there? And that doesn't seem like it's restricted here, right? We go. So what else shows up on Sword Saint? So using, I don't know what Perfect Strike is when a Sword Saint shows up. The one previous, not this last one, Tragic Beauty, but the one before, the one you're referencing, apparently there were audio issues. So it was not only was it difficult to talk on that previous one, but the hosts were having a very hard time understanding me. Eldritch Scion allows you to choose a bloodline. But as long as we take a Draconic bloodline, we can still go DD. So it shouldn't be prohibitive of that, I don't think. It was kind of annoying too, Tragic Beauty. I don't know why those audio issues were there. I'd actually had streamed that day, right? So like I'd spent an entire stream talking normally, and then I open up a Discord call with them and suddenly can't communicate at all. We're level 8, Xander. The thing is, we have a Dragon Disciple already. And this gets a single weapon focus or not? I don't know what the... Magus is combination of what again? One-handed type of martial weapon. So that's the... one of the things of that. There it goes. It actually says if I scroll out a little bit further, uses light armor. I'm gonna run into this issue where the one I want to do the most doesn't fulfill any of the fucking armor requirements that I want to use. I hate that in this game. To best utilize armor. To best utilize armor class, you don't utilize armor. Also don't need these skills covered over here. Game faithful to Pathfinder rules? My understanding is mostly. The answer to that, maybe even very heavily. Alright. Dancing in full plate. Maybe I should have gone top down. Maybe. What is this one? Alright, Sword and Board Fighter, Diabolus, Race Dwarf. 11 is a breakpoint. Agnostic. Light, heavy, and tower shields. When you say shield, is Diabolus still enchanted? Yeah, okay. Diabolus, when you're saying shield agnostic, do you mean the build is shield agnostic? I can go either way on shields, or are you saying that which shield I run is what you're talking? Is this always shield or sometimes shield? And if it's always shield, it's whichever shield I want kind of deal? Your fighters again. To a point anyways. Oh, it's just pure fighter. Strength, dex. Don't know, chat. I'm gonna end up with no one wearing fucking heavy armor at this rate. Okay, let's keep going. I see. I like that. I mean, this was one of the requests I asked. Was any martial was one-handed weapons, heavy armor, and heavy shields, or rather, utilizing armor that the rest of them isn't doing. The fact that it does that is nice, but I look at that build and it seems, I may be asking impossible things. I want all the interesting shit, but I also want the boring armors. Like, it's kind of impossible. All right, let's take a look at the Ironclad Ranger. This one was a little interesting to me. This is the one that Diabolus was initially selling me on. Man, I kind of want to talk more about the PKA stuff now. I'm a little tempted. A little tempting. I kind of just want to move on too. I don't know. All right, let's take a look at this one. This is the Ranger. Freebooter was very strong. Another companion could be strong too, especially if we respec out of the domain stuff for the cleric. I don't know if we want to or don't want to do that. The cleric is strong and seems to have a fuck ton of feats, so. Oh, it's a melee ranger. Lead blades is okay. It's just damage on your weapon. Having the endurance buffs later is good too. Presumably their spell progression is super slow.
You have returned.
They're a ranger. UICR, CHR. Cheers for the 78 months, man. Welcome back. Yeah, Shield Bash Ranger. I suspect Shield Bash is going to run into the same issue that Trip is running into in our playthrough, which is all the enemies have stupid levels of CMD. I mean, our Trip was actually working a little bit last playthrough, or last session, which is kind of crazy because it's like the first time it's worked at all. It's been at this moment. Weapon and shield, 2-weapon fighting, improved 2-weapon fighting, greater 2-weapon fighting, bashing finish. Probably read what they do, but I bet you it's just, is this proning off shield? Oh, it's just damage? I see. Okay. I thought it was like the shoving / proning mechanic that 5e has. I assumed would have been CMD, but if it's just damage, it's just damage. Okay. So we're essentially taking a fighter and saying, hey, we want to do some damage while still having a shield out. This is a reasonable ask. It's a recurring criticism, Angamar. I think it's neither of these things, right? I mean, presumably I get on fine with the host, or I wouldn't be on there a million fucking times. It's a community thing. What some of the pushback that the PKA community gives is that I don't shut up and swallow the fucking pill that I'm being offered. That I tend to have opinions about things, want to debate about those opinions. Seems to annoy some subset of their population who's watching, presumably for the hot take on, oh, this woman put glue in her hair, that's hilarious, move on. Which is a conversation you can have, but it's just not a conversation I have any desire to be a part of. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, we've established she has glue in her hair. Was that it? That was the whole point of bringing that up? Some people maybe hadn't heard that she had glue in her hair. Hilarious. Absolutely fucking hilarious. What am I doing here? So this would let us utilize some of the sweet stuff, right? Like I think the selling point of this is this. That is something. Okay. You want to know? I don't think it sounds like a healthy topic. I think it's a fine topic to have. I just don't think it. You know, what's the? I mentioned this before. What's the fucking? It's a Chinese fable, right? It's the like a grandfather, like a young boy, and like a donkey, right? And it's like they go through 3 different villages. In the first village, it's like the young boy is leading the donkey, and the old man is riding the donkey, and it's. The criticism is like, how can you make this poor animal suffer just for your convenience? And they go to the next village where they've changed it up, and like they're both walking, and the animal has no one on it, and they're like, how can you make this poor old man walk and this poor boy, this small boy, have to walk on foot when you have a perfectly good pack animal right there? And they go to like the next village, and now like the boy's riding and the old man's walking, and they're like, how can you make this poor old man who's had his full life and, you know, is clearly in the wane of his life, how can you make him fucking walk when, you know, you have, and this boy, this young spry boy is riding the back of this donkey. And it's a bit of that, right? Like you get the people who are like, man, I like that Filthy adds some depth of conversation to this podcast. And then you get the people who are like, fuck, I don't watch PKA for depth of podcasts. Can Filthy just shut the fuck up and let the host make their jokes about glue in the hair? And you run smack on head on collision wise with those groups of people. And sure, maybe there's some middle ground, but for me it's like the more I'm on it, the more I want it to be interesting to me. And for it to be interesting to me, I can't just be like, okay, there's glue in the girl's hair. You know, like you can't do anything with that. You know, like, okay, great, what's next? So, all right, SNB Crit Deliverer. We have a crit based build coming up, so I don't know about this one yet either. Yeah, I mean that's the summary. You can't make all the people happy all at the same time, for sure. All right, what is this? All right, 9 attacks. Diablos, I gotta say, regardless of the build quality of your builds versus Joas's builds versus One Heart One Mind's builds, they have a foot up on you, man, because they both put these little summaries of what the point of the character is, and they sell it, right? It's like yours is very descriptive, which is reasonable if you're expecting but they're like actively selling it, which makes it hard because I'm like, man, that does sound good, you know? And there's no like secondary list of like weaknesses, and then I go to yours and it's just like a description. I'm like, I don't know. Doesn't sound as flashy, you know? Dude, Slayer was pretty sweet, but I don't want a second Pure Slayer. We already have a first Pure Slayer. What is it doing? What a proc sneak attack, full bab, using heavy armor and shield. Possible drop to medium armor to save 1 feat. Starts at level 7, peaks at 13. All pretty good, man. But this did something different. I liked it because it wasn't a fighter build, of which we already have, although it is a ranger build, which maybe is pretty fucking boring too, maybe. I like that it had good item coverage. I like that it's possible to build it as a dwarf if I want to build it as a dwarf. I like that it gets a little bit of ranger spell coverage, of which we do not have perfect overlap with, although we have a lot of overlap with the ranger spells. I like that it uses shield as damage, which is something we could do. I mean, that one's a little bit interesting to me. And then Ranger still get a cat? I can get rid of a cat by taking a sub-spec of Ranger, right? If I take like Freebooter or something, I give up the cat. All builds ditching Charisma? At all. What am I missing from the dancing build here? Dancing is full play, gets a ton of AC from decks, get a ton of attacks for any one-handed weapon, uses weapon fighting on the shield to hit hard with it. Okay. I'll try to maybe we can talk about, oops, I'm just doing here, don't do that. That is, don't do. Okay. I don't think I'm very interested in the crit deliver from Slayer. We're building too much Slayer already, and Slayers are great. Ranger pets are incredible. Yeah, but the goal is of this is not necessarily just to get stronger, right? The goal is to be interesting for what we're doing. And the problem is not that the game is too hard or too easy. When this game does do difficulty, it almost always does it going away, which is you knew about the fight ahead of time, you have perfect ability to beat the fight, and if you don't, you just get one shot by some stupid fucking mechanic like AoE fear right off the bat kind of deal. So gotta go in 5 minutes. It's unfortunate. All right, chat, let me put out a position here right now. Let's see how we feel about it. So I really like the idea of having a Swordlord in our build. There's only one Swordlord build suggested here, and it's fancy with lots of fucking splashes in it, and that's great, and I'm pretty excited about that. Although this 20 AC leaves me a little bit concerned. I can't imagine that it actually has 20 AC, right? There's no way that wouldn't fit the basic criteria of what I asked for, which is build me a fucking off tank. Can't off tank with 20 AC. Our cleric has more than 20 AC, and he's butt naked with no fucking buff spells, right? There must be something wrong about this. It would be kind of cool playing with those mechanics. So, all right. Alternatively, or maybe additionally, or maybe some variation of that. Oh, the Druid was kind of neat too. Kind of interested in. So, I haven't really used the Druid. I kind of hate the idea of it because it's a fucking Druid and I hate Druids. But it could be okay. There were parts of that were interesting. Using this, like, becoming a summon almost, like, I guess is kind of how I look at that. Miasma seemed neat. Haven't played a Druid yet. There's probably some Druid spells in there we get access to. It's kind of that nice mix of caster and meleeer, right? So you get like the diversity of things that a caster can do while simultaneously having a melee brute, which is kind of nice. Compare the saves from the Swordlord to the Dwarf Ranger. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, right? That the saves do seem very important. I also really appreciated the single target intimidate on the Swordlord though. Swordlords aren't great. You think Duelists do everything better? The fun parts of Swordlords are much more fun than the fun parts of Duelists, right? Which is the fun part of Duelist is I don't like the idea of parry. It just doesn't sound fun to me. The fun part of Duelist for me are the like improved reactions, so they're going to be going first and often, or going to be going first highly regularly, which is really good on a tank. So you don't have the fucking flat-footed debuffs. I don't know, the build came online really late for me. And then what was the other stuff from this? I don't really need more precision fucking crit damage stuff going on. Like, we have a lot of that already. We're already fighting enemies who are immune to that, so building more of that into the team isn't particularly exciting. And then they barely use more stuff, right? I think there was some variation. Someone was telling me that it could use heavy, like super late at like 16 or something, which really doesn't do anything for me. So I didn't like that. It wasn't inherently fun sounding to me. Or the Duelist has all this fucking cool shit they're doing, right? They're like debuffing enemies that they're fighting directly. Like, after they attack an enemy, they get stronger versus that particular enemy. They're like single target intimidating as a rider effect for free. They're basically doing off tank things, right? So main tank needs to be able to be really fucking hard to kill from everything that you want to stick them in front of. Got it. We got one of those. The Dragon Disciple's doing that really well. Layered blur plus, well, whatever the other one, the 50, I don't know what it's called, displacement. Layered displacement plus AC plus decent HP, plus there's some other mechanic we use for that too. Mirror image is really making a very nice main tank, right? Pretty solid main tank. So the off tank's got to be interesting, right? We need off tanks when there's a bunch of enemies, or when the main tank goes down, or just to control some space. So they can do more things than a main tank. They don't have to be quite as tanky to do cool things. The last one was kind of tripping things, and Trip was all right, but not particularly interesting. And then didn't do anything else. No shit, no oh shit buttons, no complexity. Just a very straightforward dwarf wearing heavy armor, attacking things with kinetic blast. All right, not super exciting. So the idea for me is that if we pull in a Swordlord, the Swordlord can do all sorts of cool things. Like, Swordlord immediately is going to be, well, I'm just taking Dexter's Duelist for a second. I know this is really late in the build, but like, all right, we need to deal with some wolves that trip you all the time. Okay. We're not going to resist it, because nothing fucking gets resist. We don't resist enemies for shit in this game. Maybe the other build could. Maybe that's another way to look at that. But we can stand up and not worry about it. We've got things like we can single target intimidate. So maybe we are in a fight where there's like a big melee dude that we want to, we have two big melee dudes we have to deal with who are spread out. We main tank one, and he's just getting wailed on, and we're fighting his target, and the other target gets full disabled. It also synergizes really nicely with our crowd control stuff, right? If we are debuffing the saves of opponents, then we can hit them with our crowd control effects off our crowd control wizard to set up kind of interesting combos, right? So those things are fun for me. The idea of what this other character's doing. The downside is their armor coverage is really... All right. That character also, that has the thug stuff, right? So it has additionally, in and above what the Duelist is doing, or the Swordlord is doing, it's also got the thug stuff. So it has better intimidates, and it has the thug rider stuff where I can give up sneak attack damage to do additional, like, nauseate, etc. Right? It's just a lot of interesting things going on in that character. I really like it. I really like the idea of it. That said, I also would love to play with this Ranger. So do we want to respec more than one character, chat, is the question. So what do we give up here if we give up stuff, right? So looking through here. All right, so we are going to respec our Arcane Trickster, but I think I like the class as a whole. I've been really happy with it. What basically all we're respecing this for is that I was really adamant about trying Thessalonian Wizard. I don't think Thessalonian Wizard gives enough back to make it worthwhile. And I'm extremely dubious about Vivisection, a splash at all on this character. I think we took it initially for sneak attack damage. Oh, no, we took it because it was better than... It's part of the prereqs for EK. That's why we took it. I forgot. It was better than, I think, pure Rogue for an EK splash. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, we need it for the Arcane Trickster subs. That's fine. Thaddeus is mostly fine. I go back and forth on this 1 point in Vivisectionist. I think it's fine. And I don't want to go backwards with it, right? Like, it was very powerful in the early game for us. I don't really want to kind of be like, oh, I'm respecking out of it now that I don't need it anymore. And I don't not need it anymore. Just a little bit less impactful than it was at level, like, 1. So I think we're okay with both those. So if we gave up someone, what would we give up? I like our Slayer. I like our Slayer a lot. I'm very happy with the Slayer. I don't really feel any need to move the Slayer around. I don't feel any need to move Thaddeus around, perhaps past the point. There is